everyone, welcome back to Real Talk Podcast, where we discuss social issues, education, and all the things people think about but don't always say out loud. My name is Longwachini, and I will be your host for today's episode. The topic for today is honestly one I think a lot of people have seen, even if they never really stop to question it. Like, why is teaching often considered a wonderful career choice for women, but somehow questionable for men? Like, if a daughter says, I want to be a teacher, many parents smile and say, wow, that's such a respectable job, great work life balance, perfect for family life. But if a son says the exact same thing, suddenly the questions start. Oh, why teaching? Are you sure? Can you earn enough? Why not engineering? Why not business? So, same profession, different reaction. The question is why. So, in order to help us unpack this, I'm joined by someone in education who has firsthand experiencing this from the inside. So, now let us welcome our guest for today, Ms. Lekana.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really happy today.
And I'm excited about this one as well because I feel like this topic is bigger than teaching.
Oh, absolutely. Teaching is just the surface. Once you start talking about this, you end up discussing gender roles, money, family expectations, masculinity, social pressure, all of it.
Exactly. So let's start with your own story. As a woman, when you decided to become a teacher, what was the reaction from your family?
Honestly, mostly positive. People said things like, that makes so much sense for you. You're patient. You'll be a great teacher. That's such a stable career. And at first, I appreciated that support. But later, I started noticing something strange. Some male friends who wanted to teach had completely different experiences.
Can you tell me how different is that?
Instead of encouragement, they got interrogation. Like they had to defend themselves. One friend told me his uncle literally laughed, and said, "You want to teach? Really?"
Wow, that seemed harsh.
Yeah, and another male friend was told, "You're too smart for teaching," which honestly says so much.
That's such a weird thing to say because teaching requires intelligence.
Exactly. That comment bothered me so much. It reveals this hidden idea that teaching is somehow a lower status career, especially for men.
Okay, so now let us unpack this. So, to you, why do you think teaching gets gendered this way?
Traditional stereotypes. For generations, society associated women with caregiving, patience, emotional support. Teaching, especially younger children, fits that stereotype. So, obviously, people think that's women's work. Meanwhile, men are associated with competition, ambition, leadership, financial success. So, if a man chooses teaching, some people think he's choosing something less masculine.
Even if nobody says it directly?
Exactly. Sometimes it's subtle. Parents may not consciously think teaching is feminine, but their reactions reveal those assumptions.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate. What if parents are not being sexiest? What if they're just practical? Teaching does not always pay well. Maybe they simply worry about financial stability.
Well, I guess that's fair, and honestly, sometimes that concern is real. Teaching salaries vary by country. In some places, like our country, teachers are perhaps underpaid. Parents worry because they care. That's understandable. But here's the issue. Why does that concern apply differently depending on gender?
A good question. So, can you explain me that?
If a daughter says she wants to teach, some families say that's okay, stable job. But if a son says the same thing, how will you support a family? That's not just financial concern, that's gender expectation.
That's such a good point. Same paycheck, different judgment, isn't it?
Exactly.
Do you think culture plays a huge role in this problem?
Oh, absolutely. In many cultures, men are still expected to be the primary breadwinners. Even when families don't openly say it, that pressure still exists. So career choices become tied to masculinity. A successful man is often imagined as someone earning a lot. A successful woman is sometimes judged differently.
That's true, and honestly, even language reflects that. People say a man should provide.
Exactly. And that creates pressure because now men aren't choosing careers based on purely on passion or ability. They're choosing based on social expectation instead.
So, have you seen this inside schools too?
Definitely, I've worked with amazing male teachers. Some of the most dedicated educators I know are men, actually. Creative, patient, incredibly good with students. But I've heard their stories. One male colleague told me his father wanted him to become an engineer. Another was pushed towards finance. Teaching was seen as disappointing.
So, did they regret choosing teaching?
Interestingly, no. Most loved it, but they hated the judgment. That's the difference.
That's actually kind of sad. So, imagine loving your work but constantly feeling like society see it as not enough.
Exactly, and teaching is already emotionally demanding. You don't need outside judgment on top of that.
Okay, so now let us talk about another stereotype that teaching is easy because I hear that all the time. Oh, teachers finish early, you get holidays.
That's one of my favorite myths
Favorite?
because it's so widely inaccurate. People see classroom hours and think that it's the whole job, but they don't see lesson planning, marking, parent communication, emotional labor, what else? Classroom management, meetings, administrative tasks, professional development.
So teaching does not end when class ends.
Not even close, actually. Sometimes the teaching day ends physically, but mentally it follows you home.
That emotional part sounds intense.
It is because teaching isn't just content delivery. You're working with humans. Some students are struggling academically, some emotionally, some socially. You care about them. That emotional investment is exhausting but meaningful.
So, do you think society undervalues emotional labor because it is associated with women?
Oh wow, that's actually a big question. Honestly, yes. I think emotional labor often gets dismissed because it's seen as natural caregiving instead of skilled work.
That's powerful. So, now let me ask you this. Why does it matter if men teach? Because some might say, as long as students have good teachers, who cares?
Well, representation matters. Students need diverse role models, especially boys. If boys only see masculinity represented through athletes, CEOs, or action heroes, that's limiting. A male teacher shows intelligence, patience, kindness, communication, that matters.
Because masculinity doesn't have to mean emotional distance?
Exactly, strength can look different.
Oh, I never really thought about it that way because when we talk about role models, people usually think of celebrities or famous people, but teachers are actually the adults students see almost every day.
Exactly. And especially for younger children, teachers can shape how students understand adults, authority, and even gender. If a boy sees a male teacher who is patient, kind, calm, emotionally intelligent, that sends a message that masculinity can include empathy, and that's important.
Wow, that's such a good point. Because sometimes boys are taught the opposite, like don't cry, be tough, don't be emotional.
Exactly, and honestly, that hurts boys too. Teaching can challenge those stereotypes.
Okay, but let me pass back a little. Some people might say, come on, society has changed. Men can be teachers now. Is this still really a problem?
That's fair, and yes, society has changed in many ways, but stereotypes, they don't disappear overnight. They just become quieter. Maybe fewer people openly say that's not a man's job, but they may still imply it through questions, jokes, or family pressure.
Like subtle judgment?
Exactly. It's not always direct rejection. Sometimes it's disappointment, sometimes silence, sometimes comparison. Your cousin became an engineer, your friend works in business, that kind of thing.
Oof, comparison culture. That's brutal.
Very.
Okay, so let me be honest. When I was younger, I thought teaching looked easy because teachers just talk.
Oh no,
I know. I was young back then.
you you owe every teacher an apology.
Public apology right now. I'm sorry.
Accepted. Maybe?
So, what's something people don't understand about teaching? Something behind the scenes.
Classroom management. People imagine students quietly listening. That's not reality. Sometimes you're teaching content while managing behavior, solving emotional issues, encouraging shy students, calming conflict, and keeping the lesson running all at once.
Oh my god, that sounds exhausting.
It can be. Imagine trying to explain grammar while one student forgot homework. Another feels anxious, another keeps interrupting, and someone else is completely lost, and you still need to stay calm.
That sounds like 10 jobs in one, isn't it?
Honestly, sometimes yes.
Okay, so let's talk specifically about younger education. Do you think male teachers face stronger stereotypes when teaching children?
Definitely. The younger the age group, the stronger the stereotype sometimes becomes. Because society strongly links childcare and nurturing with women, so male teachers in early education may be seen as unusual.
Which feel unfair?
Completely unfair. A carrying male teacher should not be surprising.
Right, okay, so we say we want gender equality but then still attach nurturing to women.
Exactly. Equality means removing those assumptions.
So, do you think parents realize when they pressure sons differently?
Sometimes I do think so, sometimes no. Some parents genuinely believe they're protecting their child, but protection can become control.
That's strong.
Because saying, let's think carefully about your futures is one thing, but saying that career isn't acceptable for you is something else.
And if the only reason is gender, that's a problem.
Exactly.
So let me ask something personal. If you had children one day, okay, if your son said, Mom, I want to become a teacher, what happens?
Honestly, I would ask questions, not because he's a boy, but because any career choice deserves thought. Why teaching? What age group? What are your goals? What country? Financial planning matters. But I would never reject it because he's male.
And if your daughter said the same thing?
Same exact conversation. That's the point. Equal standards.
You said something earlier that stuck with me that teaching is just the surface. So, what is the deeper issue?
Gender expectations. Who gets permission to care? Who gets permission to prioritize meaningful work over status? Who gets judged for choosing emotionally centered professions? That's the real issue.
Yes, that's powerful because this conversation could also be applied to nursing or childcare.
Exactly, and even the opposite happens too. Women entering male dominated fields face their own stereotypes. So, this isn't about one gender having all the struggle, it's about rigid expectations hurting everyone.
That's such an important distinction because the goal is not men have it harder, the goal is freedom from limiting expectation.
Exactly, perfectly said.
Let's be honest right here, so some of this is about status too, right?
Definitely, certain careers sound impressive socially. Doctor, engineer, lawyer, CEO. Teaching doesn't always get that same reaction, even though it should.
So, why do you think that is?
Probably because people often confuse social prestige with social value. Teaching has enormous value, but prestige is shaped differently.
That's such a smart distinction. Okay, rapid fire, no overthinking. Ready?
I'll try.
Best part of teaching?
Watching growth.
Worst part?
Burnout.
Most annoying myth?
Teachers have easy schedules.
Coffee or tea before class?
Coffee, always.
Students who say miss one quick question right as class ends?
Dangerous.
Okay, so male teachers are
Important.
Teaching is a women profession.
Absolutely not.
If a young man is watching this right now and he genuinely wants to teach but feels embarrassed, what would you say to him?
I would say ask yourself whose voice is controlling your decision. Is it your own or fear of judgment? Because meaningful work deserves respect. If teaching fits your strengths and purpose, that matters. But also be realistic. Passion should be paired with planning. Understand the profession, understand finances, make informed choices, but don't let stereotypes decide for you.
Wow, that's really balanced advice. Okay, so one last final sentence. Finish this. ลกนะ Boys don't teach
Is an outdated myth.
Perfect answer. Okay, so that's come to an end of our podcast. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
And thank you everyone for watching. What do you think? Would you encourage your son to become a teacher? Do gender expectations still shape career choices? Let us know in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And see you next time on Real Talk Podcast. Bye.